So I often get asked, usually at the end of conversations on these non-dual matters, oh, and one more question, Alex. Do you consider yourself to be an enlightened person? Do you consider yourself to be an enlightened being? And I get it. If you're wanting awakening or enlightenment, it's completely logical to look for someone who knows a lot about it and has apparently attained it, because then it's more likely that they can teach me or guide me to get the same, right? After all, if you wanted someone to guide you to the top of Mount Everest, you wouldn't want someone who's only ever reached base camp. You'd want to be with someone who's been to the top and made it back alive, preferably with all their fingers intact and without having to eat any of their companions. So it makes complete sense. Seeking specialized counsel from those who are skilled and knowledgeable is obviously a wise choice. However, to some of you, my answer may initially seem a bit strange or unconventional or disappointing, but if you can hear the deeper message contained within, you may find it to be quite enlightening. You see, I, Alex, the person, cannot claim to be enlightened. It's not a personal experience, an achievement, or an attainment. The person does not become enlightened, and there are no enlightened people. The person is what this infinite consciousness that we are is appearing as. It's like an image on a screen. In one way, we could say that the person never awakens. Instead, the consciousness awakens to itself. Or perhaps more accurately, we could say the pattern of this consciousness identifying as the person and all its mental and emotional layers begins to fall away. And because of that, many of the dense mental and emotional layers themselves begin to fall away too, because they're not being identified with. And as they fall away, more of the qualities of simply being this consciousness, peace, happiness, unconditional love, wholeness, and fulfillment start to shine through. Metaphorically, the light of pure consciousness shines through the person. The mind comes on board with the idea that we are this one consciousness dreaming, and it starts delivering you harmonious thoughts and ideas in line with this understanding. But what's also recognized is that the mind, with its concepts, thoughts, and ideas, can never truly capture consciousness because it's only a projection of consciousness. After this recognition of our true self, not as a person in a world, but as this consciousness, which is appearing as the person and the world, some mental and emotional layers of the person may continue to appear, but they're much less likely to be identified with. They are seen as a character, a persona we are playing in this current dream, but not the ultimate essence of who we are. It's very similar to how when we dream and we realize that we're dreaming, it's not you as the dream person living in a dream world that wakes up. What's seen is the truth, that the dream person and the dream world are a projection of you, the dreamer. It's not a dream person in a dream world that wakes up. It's the consciousness that's dreaming the appearance of the person and the world, awakening to itself. You go lucid in the dream, and you still appear to yourself as a character looking out into a world. But it's seen that it's not the fundamental essence of who you are, and the only thing that's ultimately real is this consciousness that can appear as any dream. I, Alex, the person, cannot claim to be enlightened because that would be the opposite of enlightenment and about the most egoic thing ever. The ego is the belief in being a separate individual. And what, now I'm apparently a separate individual, an ego with some special attainment? How inflated, right? It's like how the moment you claim you're humble, you're clearly not. Can I help you or guide you with specific things to do with life, business, or the embodiment of awakening? I sincerely hope so. That's why I'm here. But this is relative. Ultimately, it's seen that all the apparent teachers, guides, gurus, and sages are characters being played by this one consciousness that we all are. We are not ultimately these characters that we play. They are appearances within the simulation. We are the one simulator, appearing as these many characters and perspectives onto the world. We are God appearing as 8 billion people and trillions of other life forms. Because enlightenment isn't personal. It's actually the recognition of the impersonal nature of all things. If I say I'm enlightened, then I have to say that you are too. And then I'd be using the "you're already enlightened" pointer that you might have heard before. But then you might just think, well, it doesn't feel like it, and the pointer falls flat on its face, unless you can see what it's pointing at. Which is, we are this universal consciousness that's in everything and is everything. That cannot ultimately be claimed by any individual because it's already everything and already the truth. Enlightenment isn't an experience or something that happens to the person. It's the truth, the absolute truth of reality and who we are. Just look at this logically. The absolute truth is, of course, always the absolute truth. It's unconditional and universal. It cannot be obtained or attained by any individual. It's already the case. It's only that an apparent individual can claim it's not. Imagine a self-aware screen that can appear as anything. I know the metaphor seems a bit strange, but stick with me here for a moment. Imagine this self-aware screen is displaying a computer game, a first-person game, displaying a game character, which believes itself to be a separate entity in a game world. Now, can the game character itself ever really wake up and realize that itself and the entire game world is an appearance on a screen? It can appear to, but ultimately there is no separate entity there who's attained some special state. The only thing that's ultimately real is the screen. But then, paradoxically, the implications of this seeing begin to be reflected in the character. Consciousness can play a new character, a character that appears to know it's in a game, a character that throws away the rigid storyline of the game and starts exploring the game with more freedom and plays the game much more lightheartedly. A character that's not so afraid of the death of itself because it knows that the appearance of its body and mind isn't the fundamental reality of who it is, and what it really is the ever-present, unharmable screen that can appear as any game. The mind of the character can never truly know or understand the reality of the screen, because it's only a projection of the screen. However, it can begin to reflect and embody the qualities of the screen: freedom, fearlessness, unharmed and unattached to all appearances. With enlightenment, nothing is added. In fact, something dissolves. The identification as a separate limited entity and all its dense mental and emotional patterns. And what's revealed are more and more of the qualities of what was already here to begin with. This consciousness, already whole, needless, naturally loving, nothing lacking, creation and joy, just for the love of it. See you in the next video. Peace.